today was very effusive in his compliment of you and your development and how ready he thinks you are. How different do you feel this time around with the offensive coordinator compared to previous years?
How do I feel this time around? I think, I feel good. I think I can't really assess where I felt then, per se, but definitely feels a little different for sure. And, I'm just ready to kind of get started with work with these guys and keep building. I mean, that's really my focus is. But as you say that, feels good, feels normal, ready to roll.
When you were going through this 2 years ago when you first got named OC and getting a lot more responsibilities that spring, how much did that really help you in terms of being ready to do this now? It helped
a lot, that perspective that you think you know, you don't know until you're in those spots. I think that whether you want to be a coach and then you become a coach, and when you're an assistant, but then you want to be the, head position coach and so on and so forth, having that perspective, being in that spot is definitely different. And so the amount of growth that you can have individually in that opportunity is as much as you're willing to make it. I think if you have that mindset, you can grow a lot. If you have a shoulder off mindset, like, oh, I know everything already, then you probably won't grow as much. But that opportunity then was awesome. This opportunity is great, and it feels even better currently.
And you can't bank on when that actually is going to happen, right, officially. But did that, going through that experience that spring, maybe change maybe the way you would operate sometimes in your own position room and how you would think about things?
Yeah, I think it makes an impact in everything. Everything. So not just say just one area. So just the viewpoint you get when the seat changes. I took it in. I haven't forgot it.
As you look back at what Jeremiah did involved with the wide receivers at all?
Say it one more time.
Does it change at all how much you're involved with the wide receivers?
As you look back at the year Jeremiah had, just everything included, the way he played, but maybe even more so his maturity, just how he handled everything as a true freshman. You played here. You've seen a lot of guys come and go. How would you describe the freshman year he had?
Yeah, I think Jeremiah's freshman year was excellent. I think that there was never really an expectation leading into it. The expectation was to attack every day and try to maximize oneself and make sure nothing is given, everything would be earned, and that continues to this day. So I think the way he went about it, the way everyone went about it, allowed for the growth. I think it was very evident where and how he felt game one, practice one, meeting one, to where he ended up at the end of the year. So to have that kind of growth, embody that up, and then have that growth again is what we're chasing. So I know that's what he's chasing, and making sure we understand, that mindset that allowed you to do what you did your freshman year. That really can't change. We got to find ways to have at least that, enhance it from there to continue our growth, to continue his growth, and I think he's doing a great job with it.
Have you thought about where you want to be, whether it be in the box or still be on the sideline with your guys? How are you going to balance that out?
Yeah, I gave a lot of thought to it. I really haven't made any final decisions of it, but we'll make that decision when we kind of get there. Obviously, Coach Day's input will be huge. Getting around the staff and continue to see how we build and where we excel and where maybe we lack, I think is really important. But I've given a lot of thought to it. No decisions yet.
What do you want to see from JJ this spring and the plan for him? He played a much longer season than he played before in high school. So what do things look like him to work on this spring?
Yeah, I think everyone played a lot longer than they ever have. I think, heading into this spring, it's just the teardown of the former foundation and the rebuild of a whole new team. I mean, you have to have that mindset. You have to have a day one mindset in order to progress. You can't rely on previously built culture or schematic understanding. There's no assumptions. You have to rebuild from scratch. We're in the process of that. We will treat day one like day one. That includes Jeremiah Smith. And so great opportunity to evaluate and grow a new group of guys. I think in spring, I think our opinion is, by fall, it's everything, the team. It's what it's all about. But in order to add to a team, in order to add to a collective, you got to focus on the individual. The individual must improve so the collective can improve. And so building the base, I think schematically and fundamentally, culturally, is what we're attacking as we head into spring.
Brian, how much is Brandon
looking forward to a different spring, a different opportunity. I know it wasn't fun for him having to take a little bit of a backseat to Emeka. Where do you see him, the fire, the passion right now, as he gets ready for this one?
Yeah, I think when you come out of a season, you get out of January and kind of take a breath. And then when you get back in the winter, it's the first opportunity to reestablish the new role that I want to have, right? I mean, across the board, there's not one guy that doesn't want an improved role.
Sure.
So I think they're all attacking it that way. I think Brandon's one of them, but he's one of 50. And I think that it's our job to provide opportunities to grow, to separate themselves, to see peer-to-peer evals, to allow these guys to chase a role, at least through winter. They've gotten that started, to continue that through spring. And I think Brandon's, fits in line with that. I think Brandon did a great job looking back of finding his role last year and excelling at it. We talk a lot about, if you want to be a starter, you have to be a starter before you're the starter. And if you're not, then you're never going to be the starter. So I think he embodied that. He gave himself an opportunity to get into winter, continue who he is, continue to build, his base, build his leadership, and then now he's got to take that into spring. So all the great things you do prior doesn't mean anything if you don't go out there and do it in the spring. So that's the harsh reality of this sport. What have you done lately? And I think all these guys are chewing at the bit to get back on the field.
Brian, everybody brings their own experiences, right? Ryan was a quarterback, you were a receiver, and then to become a play caller, obviously you have an understanding of the whole offense. But what was the process like for you of protections and the run game and quarterback play, and just continuing to grow with your knowledge of that part of the game as you prepared for this position?
Yeah, I think you're always growing. I think that you still have a specialty, or you still have an expertise in one area. To assume you have an expertise in all of it, that's just not true. In my opinion, I've seen multiple coordinators, and I know that as a fact. So, for me, I think it's just, you have an opportunity to be with the best staff in America every single day, with the best head coach in America, to just stay off your phone and pay attention and take notes and actually maximize your time. It's amazing the amount of people that don't do that. So every time I'm in a meeting, I just try to make sure I'm getting a nugget, or I'm getting information, or when things are said, do I truly understand it? And the guys will tell you, I don't care. I'll ask the question. You may think I look dumb, but I don't care, because I want to know the information. So I think that approach, I think a lot of guys have that approach. That approach allows you to just build, over time, and then that'll continue to build from now to game one, and then it'll build through the season. So the opportunity to grow is literally daily. So I just try to make sure I'm finding those opportunities, or I'm aware of those opportunities when they're right in my face.
Brian, as you take on a new role in the offensive meeting room, how important is Devin to do everything that you guys do?
Yeah, Coach Jordan's always been a huge part of the receiver room. I think that, his just understanding that, my pull away is real, that can happen. So he's going to be on his toes and being ready that, we're ready to not skip a beat, right? So information-wise, communication-wise, he's got to be locked in on that and just not assume that, Coach Hart's got it. He never really has. I expect him to continue to do that. And, he's been a big part of everything we've done.
Is that almost like taken from what Ryan did last year, where he shifted away from play calling and handed that to somebody else, and shifting away from being a quarterback's coach, where you have to have somebody you trust? And how long did it take you maybe to develop that trust, that relationship with Devin, to where that, hey, if I'm pulled away for a second, Devin's got this. I don't have to worry about what my room is doing.
I think it's more important that I do a great job being organized, so I'm never pulled away. I will be in that receiver room, and they will be coached at the very highest level. So I think there's ways to eliminate being pulled away by being organized, on top of things, and having the right right help before that receiver meeting ever happens.
Is that important for you? Because that's what you kind of emphasized. Nothing's going to change in terms of your dynamic.
Nothing's going to change in my involvement in the receiver room.
Brian, for Milan to be going through a full spring, full off season for the first time, what do you look at are the biggest areas he can grow to push for playing time this year?
Yeah, Milan is he's doing a great job. He's growing at an exponential rate. He's getting stronger. He's getting bigger. He's got weight added. And I would tell you, I always explain to them, like, you don't realize how much you've missed when you come in June versus a mid-year. Like, it's massively different. Not saying you can't overcome it. Some do at the end of the season. Some have. But, I think that's probably reliant on the room. I know Chris had an opportunity late, Olave, in the season to kind of make an impact, but it's very, very rare. So, and now, he's going through the winter workout, his growth, his everything he's done. He's like, hey, Coach Hart, I know what you're talking about now when you missed that section of winter workout. So that being said, it makes you laugh, but he's doing a great job. I have high expectations for him through spring, and I don't see that changing.
The offensive staff this year is younger than it's been in past years. What do you think of the makeup of that? You don't have somebody who's maybe.
What's the average? It's like the average, like
30s.
Like 30 or something.
Is the average age?
Yeah.
Does that include support staff?
No, it's just the
Primary.
I got you. What's it been in the past?
Couple minutes, folks. 2 more minutes.
Huh?
Higher.
Well, no kidding.
Yeah. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
Kevin Wilson.
I don't know. Dan Lanning's the head coach at Oregon. How's his average? I'm asking.
He's 38.
I know. I'm 38.
Kenny Dillingham was in his 30s.
So I really don't know. I gave zero thought to that.
Yeah.
I think that I think your ability to connect with players is important. I think you probably see a little bit of that happening in the NFL as well. I really have given zero thought to that, so I don't want to just ramble on that.
Yeah, I just didn't know if it was saw it as an advantage or.
I don't know. No thought to it.
Brian,
Hey,
with Bryson, what's the next step for him? Because we've heard Emeka talk to him about like being Mr. Consistency, catching a lot of things. Like he seems to generate a little bit of buzz, but has limited role. Like now he's got an opportunity. What's the next step for him to get that opportunity?
Take the next step and be everything he's capable of being. Right. I mean, I think the guys that are out there are very consistent in all job phases. Again, I think he wants to be a full-rounded receiver. He knows that. I think he loves playing in the slot. Did a great job there. I asked him to come out to the outside a little bit. Did a good job out there. I think his natural position is in the slot, doing a great job there. But it's just another opportunity to establish himself based on his peers, right? I mean, it's kind of like the draft. I try to explain sometimes to these guys, like, you come to Ohio State to compete with the best and be alongside the best. It's always peer-to-peer evals. Like, that's how it works. Like, the draft embodies that. Like, if it's easier to go play somewhere else, then that's fine. If that's what we're kind of looking for, per se. I'm not saying that's Bryson. I'm just saying it's a very competitive room, and you chose that because of this room. Now you got to beat your peer to play more and do more and all that stuff. So, I think that he's got to continue to build where he's at. And the guys that seem to be, starters in our room, really, I think over the last 8 years have been NFL quality guys. So if you end up becoming a starter at Ohio State, there's a good chance you're probably an NFL caliber receiver. I mean, again, I'm just going off the numbers. So you're chasing that. Can't get discouraged on maybe not being, not doing what you think you should have done. And that goes for everybody. It's not just Bryson, but all these guys are chasing that, as I ramble about Bryson. But, I think that it's not just him. It's at BI, it's Carnell. Everybody is chasing a higher level of play. And this spring is another step forward to do that.
What's your impression of the
You've
freshman?
worked under multiple play callers, like you said. How much, in your estimation, is that a gift to be able to do it, and how much of it is learned, and where do you stand on that?
Never gave it a lot of thought to it. I've never called a play in a game. So for me to have an opinion, I think that'd be a little brash. I would say that, like anything, it's probably a skill that you can improve on and do better at and do good and do worse at. I think being surrounded with guys and seeing how they do it has been a blessing. And it's very clear there's more than one way to do things. So being aware of that, I've noticed that.
What's your impression of the 3 freshmen and how they maybe transitioned here?
Yeah, all 4 freshmen I'm like very encouraged, impressed with. They carry themselves the right way, like we have hoped. They work their tails off. They've all improved. I would say that they're the right mold. They're the right fit. They belong in the room. And now they have to just improve. Now they're competing both, first individually between each other. And then, as we get into spring, they'll start competing against each other with the rest of the guys, what I mean by that. So, but as a group, the freshman group, very impressed, and they're off to the right start.
Great. Coach Hartline, thank you very much.